playing ICI motto song. I request all the participants to put their right hand on their heart.
येष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति येष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Good evening, all. Chairman of the branch, CA Fenil Shah, in his absentia. Today's learned faculty, Ashish bhai Thakkar and Pramod ji. It is a great pleasure for all of us that we are going to learn some more expertise while drafting, while reading, and on our research and review skill with this series. And as it is rightly said, that a conversation with an intelligent is better than the years of study. And Ashish bhai and our faculties had made such a wonderful research in drafting and all those subjects. So we can have a benefit of them. Ashish bhai, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your views with us. And of course, the members gonna benefit from the tool which you are going to offer us for a trial period. So we all are thankful to you, Ashish bhai. And now I request Kashish Dani to take it forward. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Ashish Thakkar sir is a professional of corporate communication. He carries an experience of 20 plus years, having worked with Aditya Birla Group, Arvind Limited, IL and FS to name a few. Mr. Thakkar has worked mostly in the service industry in customer service, delivery, training and quality, business development, contact center, and skill development verticals, respectively. Sir, it is our pleasure to welcome you here today, and we are very happy to have you here today. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, all the participants and honorable dignitaries. I thank you, C.A. Shri Fenilji, Chairman of the WIRC Ahmedabad, Shri Bishan Shahji, Secretary WIRC, for inviting me to deliberate on the subject and to interact with this august audience. I'll just switch on just a minute.
Sir, we are with us a presence of our managing committee member, Sunil Sanghvi also, as we are on the round for examination which has been conducted during this time. So we all are thankful again.
Sunil Sangviji, I thank you, and I thank all the dignitaries once again of the WIRC Ahmedabad Gujarat ICAI for allowing me to interact at this forum. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. Yeah. So, with the pandemic easing up and the life and business heading back to normalcy, it becomes imperative for all professionals and businesses to get back on track and in the flow. The pandemic situation has taught us a lot many lessons. It has highlighted the heightened importance of communication and various tools of communication in our life and business. Just to give you one single example, it would not be true if I say that during the pandemic, Zoom ne dhoom macha di. Now, this brings me to introduce you to today's topic of my presentation. I am going to talk about utilizing various tools of communicating effectively. The focus of this presentation shall be on professional communication only. We shall start and end with generics. However, we shall touch base upon specifics and shall discuss tools of communication in details. The presentation shall be wrapped up with a little demonstration about one of the tool, and we shall discuss it over it. Today, as we say, we live in the age of communication, and we are ever connected. Hence, the first slide. It is about to communicate and to illuminate. Like we communicate, we illuminate ourselves and illuminate others with all the facts and with all the information and with all the details. There's a constant urge to check messages, emails, posts, comments, likes, feedbacks, and tweets. This is so because we are facing multiplicity of communication tools and channels for business and personal use. We tend to use them overlappingly. However, our pursuit to select the right tool and platform of communication is never ending. It gets refueled every time a new tool is launched. Let us recall just a while ago, while Yahoo, Rediff, Hotmail, and India Times, all these emails were launched. Let us also recall the Internet Messenger. Let us also recall the launch of BlackBerry phone, which allowed free messaging from BlackBerry to BlackBerry utilizing a PIN number. Skype and VoIP has also created similar euphoria while they had been launched. Then came WhatsApp, and we are aware that what a kind of buzz it has created among all of us. This is the scheme of today's presentation. We shall understand communication. We shall touch base upon the barriers to effective communication. We shall examine various tools of communication, the bases and the indicators, the parameters, indicators with examples, and some useful tools. And that would sum up the presentation. Now, here's a very simplistic definition about communication. Empirically, we can say communication is all about connecting for conveying triggers a call of action. I hope the screen is visible to all of you. Now, here's a very popular saying by none other than George Bernard Shaw, who said that the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. We may be thinking in our mind that we have communicated well, बॉस को मेल दे दिया है तो मेरा काम पूरा, या तो किसी ने मुझे इंक्वायरी का एक ईमेल दे दिया है तो मुझे ऑर्डर मिल गया, but it is not so. Mind you well, it is not so. The reality is far from over, if not far from what it seems. Because communication is ever evolving, you never know where are the loose ends and where we need to tie it up. Each and every piece of communication has certain direction. There can be no effective communication without direction. We've tried to come up with a graphic which portrays horizontal, upward communication, downward communication. The graphic over here mentions a particular hierarchy wherein there's a top management, there's a middle management, and there's a bottom level management. Here are different types of directions mentioned. Downward communication flows from top to bottom or middle. It usually comes from the top management. For example, if there is a change in rule, if there is a some disciplinary communication passing on, if there is some organizational changes coming up, it usually flows from top to down. Quite opposite to it, an upward communication is initiated from middle or bottom level of hierarchy, meant to be for the top or senior management. Example, A purchase executive sharing certain data with top, middle, or senior management of his organization. A horizontal communication is a piece of communication initiated at the same level of hierarchy in an organization, and it is meant for the same level in the organization. For example, a unit HR manager of textile division communicating to a unit HR manager of dispatch division. Same company, same organization. Diagonal communication is initiated when a bottom or senior, mind you well, bottom or senior hierarchy professional of a division initiates communication with, please note, senior or bottom level of hierarchy of a different division. For example, the general manager of spinning division, I repeat, general manager of spinning division communicating with an executive of dispatch division of the same organization is an example of diagonal communication. Let us switch on to barriers. While we know that communicating effectively requires certain tools, certain mindsets, but then there are certain hindrances, then there are certain impediments to communication. What makes any communication effective? Well, we can always improve upon it, but here is what we know as barriers to effective communication. Let us cast a view at each of them one by one and understand them. Number one is perceptual barriers. Over here you can see a little graphic. There are two-person interacting. Perceptual barrier basically means there can be differences of opinion, there can be varied perceptions owing to many factors involved. It can give rise to a need for effective communication, and it needs a closer look because people with different perceptions often form a part of a workplace, and we may be needing to communicate with them. This is the first and the foremost barrier. There can be emotional barriers like fear and mistrust, which can stop us from communicating effectively with our co-workers and even with our peers, even with our seniors, and so on. There are language barriers. Yes, language is again an important element. It describes what we would want to express and want to communicate to others. It also serves as a barrier in case if we are not at par. For example, if I do not know the parlance in the business parlance, if I may not be knowing, if I may not be aware of in which language or in which particular terminology, not necessarily language but terminology as well, I should be speaking, then it also creates a barrier. Cultural barrier is again a very important thing to be noted. A cultural barrier rises when two individuals coming from diverse backgrounds or beliefs or religions or states or ethnicity or upbringing, they come together and give rise to cultural barriers. Therefore, we need to be extra cautious while dealing with different ethnicity, persons from different religions, different from persons from different countries. They may be different in color, gender, and so on. Therefore, it has been said our communication has to be neutral. It cannot be biased. It cannot be against. It cannot be pro this. It cannot be any supporting any opinion, any popular opinion, or any political opinion. Communication necessarily has to be unbiased. Here is physical barriers. Hierarchy in the organization often keep us from interacting with our senior management team, top management team, or our superiors. So there may be physical barriers which may act as an impediment. For example, if a trainee or if an executive is wanting to talk to his or her senior two steps ahead of him, or maybe his boss's boss, and this executive may not be really motivated to talk to him because of he may be facing physical barriers. वो ये सोचेगा कि मैं उनसे मिलने जाऊंगा तो कैसा लगेगा, मैं एकदम मेरी जो लेवल है, आई एम एट अ वेरी लो लेवल एंड हाउ कैन आई इंटरेक्ट विथ हिम. So these all thoughts and these all beliefs give rise to physical barriers. And some point of time, it is the other way around also. Some point of time, because at the end of the day, we are all people. So क्या होता है कि अगर कोई सीनियर है and if he or she is like not that much open to the staff, not so welcoming, definitely it would give rise to physical barriers, and definitely it would not and desired results of communicating. Now, this all barriers can be, it can be overcome. Language and physical barriers, like I said, can be overcome by training. Likewise, mingling, rapport building, and all such measures will always help us in dealing with and eliminating all the barriers. The next slide relates to various tools of communication. But before I come to it, I'd like to say we are facing a situation wherein with each technological change or evolution or an upgrade, we get new opportunities, newer ways and means to communicate. Now, needless to say, every new method or technology of communication does not necessarily suit all the businesses alike similarly. So, this leads us to this particular slide, which describes about unified communication trends, which we need to be aware of at least in 2021. So there's a good way of saying it. So I have put up over here. It is 2020 plus, nothing to do with any particular figure or so. So the first icon over here describes 5G. So 5G is a technological platform. 5G basically is all about streaming, high-speed data, call connectivity, internet connectivity, and access to lot many platforms, storage and everything, accessing the storage and everything also happens through 5G. Artificial intelligence, as you would be aware, like we are taking the help of dialers, auto routers, we are taking the help of chatbots. Cloud computing also is helping and evolving us. The business scenario specifically, wherein the storage system, storage space is defined on it. Yeah, not to forget, this would also be an important trend to look out for in 2021 and ahead, which is security concerns. We have been often hearing about cyber attacks and about websites being hacked, websites and systems being hacked, and so on. Yes, the most important and my favorite, virtual meetings. So till now we were not so much very much aware about all the web meeting tools, which is the virtual meeting tools. Some of us, I'm sure, would be aware of about Skype and all, but then during this pandemic, we came to know about what Zoom is all about, what Google Meet is all about, what WebEx is all about, what Microsoft Teams is all about. Yeah, and thanks to Bishanji, I also was made aware about one more platform, which is Blue Jeans, Airtel's Blue Jean. So that as well, thank you, Bisanji. It was worth mentioning. Yeah, so that is also a platform of virtual meeting. Plus, there are products and services in terms of software, in terms of apps, and all, which are trending, which are going to be trending, and which are going to be evolving tremendously in the years to come. Now, below this, we've tried to figure out certain tools. I would like to say these are conventional tools, but let us take a more systematic look at all these tools. And for the sake of convenience, I have tabulated all these tools in an easy to understand manner, which is over here in the form of a matrix. So, having had the overview of this particular trends to be watched in 2021, now this is a little table which speaks about all the tools of communication. Now, these tools are traditional. We need not bother it because it's not something new mentioned over here. I am sure we all would be aware about emails and SMS and WhatsApp and phone calls, auto dialers, IVRs, the interactive voice response systems, the letters and the memo and faxes and all. So on the right hand side, I've tried to categorize them on the basis of their proactiveness, on the basis of responsiveness, on the basis of internal and external. And on the extreme right, I've tried to score them. Now, this score has nothing to do with importance, this score has nothing to do with any priority, but this score simply denotes a generic importance attached to each particular tool. So let us start with emails. Emails can be sent proactively, emails can be sent response reactively as well, as in response to someone's query. In response to your meeting, you can send an email. An email can be sent internally also to your colleagues, to another department, to your boss, in the internal ecosystem as well as in the external ecosystem. Like, it can be your client, it can be your ex-client, it can be your prospects, it can be your dealer, it can be your supplier, it can be your associate, it can be collaborators, it can be government agencies, and so on and so forth. So an email can be used for all the purposes, internally, externally, reactively and proactively. Same is the case with SMS and WhatsApp. However, as we all know, emails and SMS, they differ in their scope. SMS and WhatsApp, basically these are text forms. These are basically chat forms. While email is a bit elaborate. Email gives you the liberty to attach files, images, voice clips, links, as well as text. In addition to all these, you can use an email for texting also. An email therefore is required to be in detail and in depth. Likewise, an SMS and WhatsApp is not required to be too lengthy, or it is not required to be in depth and touching each and every aspect. It is actually not meant for it. It is short message service. For those who may not be aware of about SMS, it is an abbreviated form of short message service. It is a text. Such is the case with phone calls. It is a verbal form of communication. Con calls are again an extended form of phone calls, which can integrate many people, which can integrate many professionals on the con call. Auto dialers are again automated phone calls going on to the dealers, going on to the prospective customers and to the stakeholders with a pre-formatted message, pre-recorded message dialed on a particular number. So auto dialers, in case if I'm sure auto dialers से तो सब परिचित होंगे. Auto dialer basically is used more often in marketing and promotional scenarios. IVRs, basically interactive voice response system, is used more in the service scenarios or while trying to handle queries, requests, and complaints. Letter, my favorite, memos and fax. While we say letter is again, like, dating back so many centuries back, and like, we have been using it in all sort of communication, be it physical, sorry, be it social, or be it business scenario or whatsoever scenario. Letter is very docile, and letter is a very nice form of communication tool, which we can use it according to our requirement. There are letters in terms of legal, there are letters in terms of non-legal, there are notices and whatnot. There are appointment letters, there are resignation letters, there are appraisal letters, there are letters related to rules and regulations called notices, called directives, and so on. Letter basically has given rise to files and filing system, which again is an extension of communication. Memo is also a same thing. Memo is an abbreviated short form of memorandum. However, memo is also a reminder or a caution letter in terms of business. Fax is again an electronic letter transmitted to remote end. It is electronically transmitted letter or a written note. It is fast and it can communicate. Now fax are not very much in vogue because with the advent of emails, the scanned letters and scanned documents are easily transmittable to the other end in any part of the world. So fax are now not very much in demand and in use. Point number 5 is apps. Apps means these are business apps mostly. Apps are used to service and showcase basically your product and services. Apps are meant to catch and grab the information and attention of the users. Apps carry all necessary information required by the users or the clients. It is pre-fed with all necessary inputs about products and services, about all the things which a prospective user may be needing. Apps basically are based on artificial intelligence. Apps can be simplistic as well. There can be desktop apps also, which also constitute to be a good tool nowadays. And there is an ecosystem which is growing up, which is called the app market. Google Play Store is dedicatedly operating for apps, we can say. In case if you want to download anything, there is one authentic marketplace, which is apps. Now mostly all the apps are free, or I can say, like, the free versions of apps can be found on Play Store. But you will have to pay for it in case if you are trying out a paid version or you need more features of an app. There are many apps related to entertainment also. There are many apps related to education also. There are many apps related to graphics. In business we may be requiring to come up with logo, so there are apps which can support and which can take care of your requirement to a certain extent. Cloud Drive is again a device wherein we store our data so that we can operate it from anywhere and keep it safely stored, as well as keep a voluminous quantity of data at a secured place in soft form, so that we may not be in the burden of preserving the data in physical format. Likewise, we move on to greeting cards and souvenirs and branded stationery. Now these particular tools, they point towards special occasions, they point towards marketing. For example, branded stationery means branded pen, you have your branded calendar, you have a branded t-shirt, uniform, and so on, which would create a passive communication. So whomsoever comes across a branded pen or a keychain would definitely recall. So it also communicates. Brochure and profile carries all the information about the company, about the team, about what they do, about what they offer, about where all their branches are, about how they have evolved, about who's the founder, about who's the management, key stakeholders, and so on. While the product and price catalog is a different form of tool. It can be differentiated from brochures and profiles in a way, like, product and price catalogs always carry information pertaining to products or services and about their prices, about the specifications, about the taxes they attract, about how they can be extended, about how they can be integrated, about all the technicalities, about your satisfied clients, and about in which scenarios they can be used, and it contains the FAQs also. Point number 10 mentions about presentation. Presentation is an inevitable tool of our corporate life, of our business life. We are indeed required to present about our topics, about our product, about our project, about our planning, about appraisals, and whatnot. Presentations can be responsive usually. Presentations can be internal, presentations can be external. As we all are aware, presentations usually are not proactive. Presentations are not proactive in the sense of we simply at the first point do not send across presentations. Say for example, on an email, if we are trying to establish contact and establish our services, we may just like to send some generic details and then ask for the meeting, and then we may present about our services, about our organization, and so on. Videos again constitute an important part, and in the mix of this communication tools, video is an important aspect. Video basically creates a great impact because it contains all the visuals, audio plus video. That is, it has the audio, it has the visual impact, plus it has characters into it which can be related. Videos and presentations, they differ. Presentations are usually PowerPoint slides or some sort of graphics, while videos are moving images, characters, audio with all the effects into it. I would just like to give you a glaring example. Where are videos used? I believe it would surely add to the perspective. Videos are extensively used in greenfield and brownfield industries. I can remember the other day I was interacting last year with one of the founder promoter of particular industry. He was trying to come up with a plant over here, a greenfield plant over here in Gujarat, and he wanted to have topographical survey of that particular area. I'd like to say Sanand area. So, and luckily there are service providers. There are drone video photography service providers. So I know interacting, I still remember interacting with one of them, and as a result, and due to that, it enabled us to present them the topographical overview of this particular area to make a sound business decision. Usually, for internal purposes, only training videos are used, and these videos I have mentioned here are for purely commercial and professional purpose. Web meetings, oh, again, it is the most important tool. It can actually not be proactively. We cannot be simply like, it cannot be a cold web meeting. If there is a meeting, web meeting, it has to be on purpose. It can be responsive. It has to be in response to someone's request, or like, if someone's on someone's permission. If someone has permitted you to come up with a meeting, it definitely can be arranged. It can definitely be internally organized, as we are experiencing during the course of pandemic. Nearly all the team members have been interacting on web meetings, even on video calls and all, which also should be included in this particular category. We have Google Calendar. The Google Calendar is a very logical tool which simply arranges your meetings. You can put your meeting schedule on Google Calendar and it will remind you. You can also share it with all those, you can collaborate it with all those with whom you are going to meet on meeting. So it is a very important tool. Here is an extension. We have Dropbox, we have Team Chat, CRMs, flyers, danglers, banners, billboards, hoardings, commercial advertisements, blogs, website, intranet, social media platforms, radio, TV, YouTube advertisements, exhibitions and events, and personal meetings and conferences. This, let us please remember that this is not an exhaustive, all inclusive list. These are simply handy tools of communication which we use it or which are known to us. For example, Dropbox. We all are aware about Dropbox. Rather than sending a file across an email, may bounce the mail. Some point of time, there may be privacy policies applicable at the other end. So you may not be able to attach this particular file or may not be able to transmit this particular file at the other end. Dropbox comes in handy. Dropbox is a mechanism through which files can simply be uploaded to a particular link, and there's a place on cloud. It can be uploaded, it can be accessed by both the parties, the party uploading it and the party downloading it, and it is very easy to access. Team chat is again such a tool which enables, this is a team chat is specifically applicable for larger teams maybe operating from different premises, different geographies and all, wherein it may not be possible each and every time to interact on phone or using any other thing. So team chats are basically secure chat mechanism which will enable the team members to interact. There are CRMs and ERPs. CRM basically is customer relationship management systems. CRM, uh, I I'm sure, like, you all would be aware and you all would have used CRM at one point or the other, or still would be using it. CRM is nothing but a systemized way in which we store information about our operations, about our clients, about follow-ups, about accounts. Yes, there are specific and specialized CRMs available. There are marketing CRMs available. There are project management CRMs available. There are CRMs available for supply chain, CRMs available for accounting purpose, finance purpose as well. And there are CRMs which are comprehensive in nature, CRMs which can be used for all the purpose and by all the departments. Usually CRMs are deployed by companies who have a larger employee base, customer base. The operation size of operation is bigger. In such case, CRMs are suitable. However, there are free CRMs available in the market as well. And, like, it can take care of some of the basic needs of each and every organization. So even a tiny organization aspiring to be big can also use this. There are flyers and danglers. Now I need not elaborate on this what flyer means. like, आप सभी ने देखा होगा कि न्यूज़पेपर के अंदर, like, जो हम इंसर्ट्स डालते हैं, उसको भी हम फ्लायर्स यूज़ करते हैं कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए. बट इट इज़ अप्लीकेबल टू अ डिफरेंट साइज ऑफ बिजनेस, different size of firms. Danglers again have a different objective. Danglers are, आपने देखा होगा, फॉर एग्जांपल आप कभी कोई रेस्तरां में गए हों या कभी कोई आप गए हो स्टेशनरी स्टोर्स में, तो वहाँ पे यू विल फाइंड डैंगलर्स हैंगिंग फ्रॉम द वॉल और फ्रॉम द सीलिंग. वहाँ पे वो इसलिए रखते हैं ताकि वो ब्रांड वहाँ पे है उसका एक आपको पता चले. एंड it actually persuades you to take a note that this particular brand is available, or there is a promo which is running over here, which is offered by this particular brand, so that immediately that thing can be availed, or it can connect to the prospective purchaser, or those who are intending to use that product or service. We have banners, we have billboards, we have hoardings, all translates into one. बैनर्स एक रिलेटिवली शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए हम बैनर्स भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं. बैनर में ज़्यादातर ये होता है कि, लाइक, कंपनी नेम वुड बी इंस्क्राइब्ड ऑन इट, logo would be inscribed. There can be temporary instructions, for example covid vaccination center, तो उसका एक बैनर लग सकता है कहीं पे बाहर. इट इज़ हैंडी एकदम. तो बैनर जो है जनरली हम उसको बोलते हैं डे टू डे पार्लांस में फ्लैक्स बैनर्स भी हम बोलते हैं. तो फ्लैक्स मटेरियल से बना हुआ होता है, वो भी हम यूज़ करते हैं. इट इज़ ऑल्सो एन एसेंशियल पार्ट ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, बट इट रिलेट्स टू मार्केटिंग कम्युनिकेशन मोस्टली एंड प्रमोशंस. बिलबोर्ड्स एंड होर्डिंग्स आर अगेन ऑल्सो रिलेटेड टू द सेम थिंग. कमर्शियल एडवर्टीजमेंट्स जो है वो कहीं पे भी कोई भी प्लेटफॉर्म पे हम करते हैं, वो भी अगेन डिफरेंट, इट इज़ अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ टूल फॉर एडवर्टीजमेंट्स. कमर्शियल एडवर्टीजमेंट्स के लिए भी डिफरेंट व्हीकल्स आर यूज्ड. फॉर एग्जांपल आप एक रोड पे रोड साइड शोकेस वैन भी होता है. फिर वी कैन हैव, लाइक, इट इज़ अगेन अ वेरी नीश सेगमेंट. आउट ऑफ उसके अंदर होती है, आउट ऑफ डोर होता है, फिर रेडियो होता है. तो इट इज़ ऑल इंटरब्लेंडेड, इंटरट्वाइंड. देन देर आर ब्लॉग्स. मैं अगर ब्लॉग्स की बात करूं तो इट इज़, यू कैन से इट इज़ अगेन अ वेबसाइट ओनली, बट एडिटेबल वेबसाइट जिसके ऊपर आप फ्री में आपके व्यूज़ जो है या आपकी हेल्प जो है, या तो यू कैन शेयर इट योर व्यूज़ ओपिनियंस अबाउट समथिंग, ट्रबल शूटिंग, बट जेनरिक जो भी चीज़ें हैं वो आप ब्लॉग्स में लिख सकते हो. Blogs is again a very important tool of communication. Blogs are a very important tool of communication. Blogs enable you to stay connected. Like वेबसाइट जो है वो आप हर रोज अपडेट नहीं कर सकते हो. वेबसाइट जो है उसका कंटेंट जो है वो स्टैटिक रहता है. बट ब्लॉग्स ऐसी चीज़ है, इट इज़ लाइक अ फ्रेश वाटर, इट कीप्स ऑन फ्लोइंग. and due to which it has a ranking. तो blogs जितने आप update करते रहोगे उतना वो भी ranking में भी it would be prioritized, and it will score good ranks in the ranking page rank method on Google and all, and it will help you in getting visualized, getting noticed and highlighted. तो जनरली ऐसा होता है कि वेबसाइट तो हम सबको पता है, वेबसाइट भी होती है और साथ में ब्लॉग्स भी होते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल कोई अगर समझ लीजिए आर्किटेक्ट है, and if this particular architect has his website, and they people are into designing and interior services, but it would greatly help in case if they can share through their blogs tips on interior designing, things to be kept in mind, do's and don'ts, and so on, with all the perspectives, with all their experience, so it is again a very different experience. Now coming to intranet. Now intranet happens to be the most clever form of mechanism, which is used, as the name suggests, which is used to communicate, which is used as a repository of information. For example, like in the Aditya Birla group where I was associated earlier, we had a comprehensive, a full-fledged intranet pertaining to product, pertaining to the services which we offered. सारी information उसके ऊपर होती थी, and not only that, there was a team responsible to update it with all the latest developments, with all the latest prices, with all the latest features of our services, with all the latest strategies and all. But it was strictly confidential and limited only and only for the employees. Yes, intranet can be for a particular team, it can be for a particular team plus another team, and it can be accordingly, it can be configured. But intranet helps a lot in terms of internal communication. It also serves the basis of serving our clients and end users in an effective manner. So those who may not have experienced intranet, I suggest out of my experience to please use it, because it is tremendously going to change the way you are going to operate, and you are going to win your customers, and you are going the way you are going to service your customers, and bring it will certainly bring delight which would be visible. Social media platforms like LinkedIn, like Facebook, like YouTube's, like Instagram, like Pinterest and all. Some social media platforms are exclusively used for, say, only social purpose, and some are used for professionals. My favorite being LinkedIn, and LinkedIn otherwise also has been utilized by business fraternity. So networking happens big time on LinkedIn, and it is advisable that all of us should have, if we are professionals, we should not be missing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn also provides you an opportunity to for paid services, and it has other features as well, like promoting your services. It has a sales feature also, so that also can be utilized. It has a company page feature which also can be utilized to the benefit of your organization. We have radio, TV, YouTube advertisements also, which we already covered in point number 19. Exhibition and events, yes, these are again outdoor events, exhibitions, seminars happening. I'm sure, like this 2020 has made us to cut on the scope of all the exhibitions and events, but nevertheless, now we are moving forward towards normalcy. So we hope to see and experience a lot of such events and exhibition. Just to give you an example, Vibrant Gujarat Summit, which happens every 2 years in Gandhinagar in Mahatma Mandir campus, is one of the most coveted events in India. Likewise, the world's most coveted events happens to be Hannover Messe in Germany. It was scheduled on April 7th or 8th, 2020, but it could not take place because of the COVID situation. I was scheduled to attend it, however. So events and exhibitions play an important role in communicating our services and our products. Then there are personal meetings and conferences. Now you would wonder why I have kept personal meetings at the end, but I certainly would like to say that I do not want to demean personal meetings, face to face meeting. In fact, In fact, they are the most effective. And in fact, the reason behind keeping them at the end is because it is the base. Because ultimately सारी बातें हो जाती हैं, वेब मीटिंग हो जाती हैं, कॉन कॉल हो जाता है, फोन कॉल हो जाता है, ईमेल्स हमने भेज दिया होता है, फिर बात जो डील होती है वो आके अटकती है कि पर्सनल मिलके ही आपको हम ऑर्डर देंगे, या पर्सनल मिलके ही हम आपका प्रोडक्ट परचेज करेंगे, वेयर सो एवर रिक्वायर्ड. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑल द फास्ट मूविंग प्रोडक्ट्स एंड ऑल. So these are the things. Personal meeting hai ya to group of people are meeting, so it also is a very robust, time tested platform. And it is very much psychologically, because मैं देखूंगा नहीं, I always have a need as a seller or as a buyer. I always have a need to see the people who are behind the product or who are giving the services, and therefore it like it facilitates my decision making process. However, usually proactive basis पे personal meetings and conferences होती हैं. Sorry, responsive basis पे होती हैं, proactively generally नहीं होती हैं. I beg your pardon for this editing typo mistake. It should be in responsive column. Yes, it can be it can be for external purpose. Internally जो meeting होती रहती है वो हम उसको that is just interaction, and out of our job obligations or out of our business obligations वो अलग चीज़ है. Now, apart from this, while we have covered all the tools, let me move on to yet another slide. Having had the overview of all these conventional tools, we'll now take a closer look on how to utilize it and on what basis to utilize it, so that our communication process becomes effective. So let us check this out through a matrix which I have specifically prepared empirically for the benefit of you all. So here is the basis. I hope it is displaying clearly and properly to you all. So this is the basis. Now, basis for what? Basis for choosing appropriate tools for communicating. On the left, there are around 9 tools. So these tools, by and large, these are the parameters which lead us in selecting appropriate tools. Now let us delve a little deep inside these all parameters. So number one is the target audience. मुझे पता होना चाहिए कि मैं किन से बात कर रहा हूँ, किन से मिल रहा हूँ, या तो किन को एड्रेस कर रहा हूँ. अकॉर्डिंगली मेरा कम्युनिकेशन जो है वो शेप अप होगा. मुझे पता होना चाहिए मैं कौन सी ज्योग्राफी को टारगेट कर रहा हूँ, दैट इज कौन सा सिटी, टाउन, कंट्री, उसके मुताबिक मेरा कम्युनिकेशन जो है अकॉर्डिंगली मैं ड्राफ्ट करूंगा, या तो उसको फ्रेम करूंगा, या तो उसको मैं डिजाइन करूंगा. मेरी फ्रीक्वेंसी, कौन सी कितनी फ्रीक्वेंसी, मुझे हर रोज ये किसी को बताना है, या एक बार बताना है, या हर बार नया बताना है ऑनगोइंगली, या तो एक ही मैसेज है जो मुझे रिपीटेटिवली बताना है. दिस ऑल्सो is a determinant in ascertaining and in choosing the appropriate tool for communicating. Now, business type, कौन सी प्रोडक्ट है, कौन सी सर्विसेज है. बिजनेस टाइप, बिकॉज आज मैं आपको बोल सकता हूँ कि बिजनेस टाइप एंड साइज जो है, फॉर एग्जांपल इफ वी टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ नाइकी, वो बड़ा बिजनेस है, बिलबोर्ड एडवर्टीजमेंट कर सकते हैं. जबकि अगर मैं कोई बोलूं कि एक छोटा सा मशीन का पार्ट है, या तो बुश है, या तो बेरिंग है, उसकी मैं बिलबोर्ड एड प्राइम लोकेशन के ऊपर मैं करूंगा तो इट इज फ्यूटाइल एंड इट इज नॉट अफोर्डेबल एज वेल. क्योंकि ना तो मेरा टारगेट ऑडियंस वहां पे कनेक्ट हो रहा है, ना तो मुझे उसमें से कुछ लाभ हो रहा है. दैट इज द थिंग. टाइम, यस, टाइम इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एवरीवेयर एंड इट इज हियर एज वेल. द केस इज नॉट डिफरेंट. मैं कौन से टाइम पे कम्युनिकेट कर रहा हूं, विच टाइम हैव आई सिलेक्टेड. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर मैं एक ईमेल करने जा रहा हूं फॉर एग्जाम्पल होली के टाइम पे, तो आई कैन नॉट बी राइटिंग हैप्पी न्यू ईयर, क्योंकि वो दिवाली नहीं है. टाइम मैटर्स, सीजन ऑल्सो मैटर्स. यस, जो फॉरेन कंट्रीज हैं वहाँ पे सीजन, स्प्रिंग जो है ये सीजन मेंशन करती है, फॉल मेंशन करती है, एंड इट रिफ्लेक्ट्स it reflects in communicating, it also reflects in selling their products and services. Okay, तो काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें टाइम से रिलेट करती हैं। ओकेशंस होता है, किसी का बर्थडे है तो आप उसको लिख सकते हो कि टुडे इज़ योर बर्थडे, सो हैप्पी बर्थडे एंड वी आर हैप्पी टू एक्सटेंड यू दिस पर्टिकुलर ऑफर। तो वो आप लिख सकते हो उस टाइम पे, बट in the middle of the year which is not his or her birthday you cannot write this. So time also determines how to communicate, what to communicate effectively. Then we have regulations coming from statutory and the government bodies in terms of policy change, या तो गवर्नमेंट के directives बदल गए, गवर्नमेंट की कुछ अगर ऐसी चीज़ आ गई, जैसे कि एक बहुत ही ऑब्वियस सा एग्जांपल हम सब देखते हैं, तो जो म्यूचुअल फंड्स हैं, there are private companies involved in mutual funds, but it has been mandated and it has been mandatorily made compulsory by the government and the authorities that उसके पीछे एक एडवाइजरी आएगी, एक डिस्क्लेमर आएगा, जो कि कुछ ऐसा होता है कि लाइक mutual funds are subject to market risk and you should always refer to the offer documents. Like again insurance में भी ऐसा होता है, insurance is a matter of solicitation करके। तो these are regulatory requirements and these are regulatory directives which all require us to inculcate something at different levels से। ये तो मैंने एक एग्जांपल दिया आपको कि एक एडवर्टीजमेंट लेवल पे मैंने दिया है। तो दूसरा एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल which is not very good example to give, but then too just for the sake of clarity, like those who are smokers, जो स्मोकिंग जो सिगरेट होती है, सिगरेट के पैक के नीचे भी लिखना पड़ता है which is a statutory advice, which is a statutory message that cigarette smoking is injurious to health. ऐसे ही हम देखें तो काफ़ी सारे फिल्म्स हैं, फिल्म्स के अंदर भी ये दिखाया जाता है कि नो एनिमल वॉज इंजर्ड, we do not intend to hurt anyone's sentiments or any religion or any ethnicity. So these are all mandated by the government and by the regulatory authorities. Now last one is emergency. So emergency criteria यानी हम बोले तो उसको crisis बोल सकते हैं उसको, for example if some समथिंग untoward has happened तो वो क्राइसिस सिचुएशन हो गया। तो क्राइसिस सिचुएशन में you will use a different tool for communication and naturally different form of communication would be required over here. Now all put together, let us move on to the another slide which talks about parameters, indicators and the examples. Target audience basically अगर हम लेते हैं तो उसके इंडिकेटर्स होते हैं। वहाँ पे हमने देखा कि टारगेट ऑडियंस और इंडिकेटर्स थे, यहाँ पे टारगेट ऑडियंस, इंडिकेटर्स एंड एग्जांपल्स। टारगेट ऑडियंस में क्वांटिटी ऑफ ऑडियंस, यानी कि इफ आई एम गोइंग टू डील विथ स्मॉल ऑडियंस, इट इज़ लार्ज ऑडियंस और इट इज़ what is the quality of that audience, what is the demography of the audience. Now demography when I say ये apply होता है for B2B and B2C. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एज है, जेंडर है, एजुकेशन है, इनकम है, कल्चर है, ऑक्यूपेशन है, स्पेंडिंग हैबिट्स, मार्शल स्टेटस है, फैमिली साइज है, फिर सोशल स्टेटस है, ये सारी चीज़ें मैटर करती हैं। एक एग्जाम्पल, एक सिनारियो के थ्रू हम इसको समझते हैं। प्रमोशनल ऑफर लेटर couriered at a bachelor accommodation of a young field sales executive may not be received. It has all the chances of getting bounced and returned. Basically a phone call, a text or an email would work well. लाइकवाइज दूसरा पैरामीटर है ज्योग्राफी। यहाँ पे जो पैरामीटर्स दिए गए हैं उसके ऊपर से मैं एक एग्जांपल आपको दूंगा। ट्राइंग टू पर्सनली विजिट योर डीलर्स लोकेटेड इन अ रिमोट हिली एरिया इन मॉनसून may not be a good proposition and it may waste a lot of time and energy. Instead a web meeting is the solution. Again like अगर हम बात करें तो फ्रीक्वेंसी की मैं अगर बात करूं तो फॉर एग्जांपल आपके कॉन्टैक्ट सेंटर में या तो आपके कस्टमर सर्विस सेंटर में अगर बहुत सारे फ़ोन कॉल्स आ रहे हैं एक रिपीटेटिव चीज़ के बारे में, तो यू कैन हैव दैट ऑप्शन integrated in IVR. If you do not have IVR, you can get the IVR integrated and can save upon the resources. Similarly for budget, it is hiring stall attendants for an event is a good idea, or for a road show you can choose to hire stall attendants, but it is actually going to cost you. So it again relates to the size of business. Now business type is again important. Online demo of a web portal or a CRM would generally be preferred through web meeting. उसमें अभी हम मिलेंगे या नहीं मिलेंगे, चीज़ तो यही है कि जो भी उसको बेच रहा है या उसका ऑनर है वो आपको दिखाएगा तो वही। तो इससे अच्छा है कि हम उसको वेब मीटिंग पे ही एक डेमो ले लें। डेफिनेटली मीन्स अ लॉट and saves your time, saves your efforts, and it gives you a very perfect and clear picture because ultimately it is going to be operated online. For example, business size की हम बात करें, trying to call upon a general manager of a large MNC will not help you. However, try to network with him on LinkedIn and it would surely generate some results. Likewise, we have time. A greeting card, combined with a souvenir would work perfect and would communicate your feelings well rather than just an email. Supposing it's in the case of an employee, तो अगर उनको ईमेल आप भेजोगे कि ठीक है आपका बर्थडे है, तो वी विश यू अ वेरी हैप्पी बर्थडे, उसकी जगह अगर आपने उसको ग्रीटिंग कार्ड दिया या कोई सुवीनियर दिया, तो इट वुड कम्युनिकेट योर फीलिंग्स एंड योर इमोशंस एंड इट वुड डेफिनेटली क्रिएट अ गुड रेपो एंड गुड इंप्रेशन. रेगुलेशंस की हम बात कर रहे थे, तो मेरी सेंडिंग एन ईमेल, फॉर एग्जांपल कोई टैक्स रेट चेंज होता है तो हम सबको सिर्फ ईमेल कर दें या लेटर भेज दें तो इट विल नॉट सफाइस, इट यूजुअली डजंट सफाइस. So for that it will have to be inculcated and incorporated in our brochures and catalogs and all. पैरामीटर्स की हम सॉरी इमरजेंसी पैरामीटर्स की हम बात करते हैं, तो क्राइसिस की अगर हम बात करें तो a phone call can be blended with text. It would rather help, like in a personal visit. अगर कोई समझ लीजिए कि हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड है, उसको देखने जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, अगर आप कोऑर्डिनेट करो उनके साथ, उनको कोई हेल्प चाहिए तो फ़ोन कॉल पे भी कोऑर्डिनेशन आप कर सकते हो. सो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट specifically selecting the right kind of parameters. With this we move on to some useful tools, and this is the end part of our presentation going to be. We'll very quickly have a look at all the useful tools, some of which I have mentioned over here. And it talks about basically this is Slack, it talks about Salesforce, it talks about Asana. So Slack is basically it is again a messaging app, it is a workplace, it is a platform which enables us to collaborate. It is available for desktop and mobile, and it can also be used through website or on a browser, and the free version is also available so you can try out. This is the most happening thing nowadays. सिमिलरली सेल्स फोर्स, ये सब हम इसलिए देख रहे हैं क्योंकि since we are all in some or the other sort of profession or business, and these tools can really mean a lot for your business, for communicating with different stakeholders and all. Salesforce similarly is CRM, basically customer relationship management, but it is more inclined towards marketing and managing your sales, commerce and services, and it gives you the same similar picture to all internal stakeholders. Similarly, Asana, or it can be spelled as Asana, it is a task management tool. It also provides a platform. It facilitates creating comprehensive task lists and details of the actions required and set deadlines so that everyone is on the same page. Likewise, we have HubSpot. Now, HubSpot is a similar platform, but it is again for marketing management. It is the contents you can find. You can find the leads on it. You can network and you can convert visitors into leads and leads into customers. Likewise, we have SAP Ariba. SAP Ariba is a very coveted platform, just like all the above. SAP is mainly used by big corporates and giant size corporates. But SAP Ariba, again, the free version is also available. It is for procurement and supply chain. So it helps in collaborating with B2B and creating dynamic digital collaboration with millions of suppliers and other trading partners and associates globally. सो एक एग्जांपल दूंगा, अगर किसी को फॉर एग्जांपल कनाडा में कोई सप्लाई चाहिए किसी चीज़ की, तो वो एसएपी अरीबा अगर यूज़ करते हैं तो वहाँ पे वो डाल देंगे तो पूरा जो भी एसएपी अरीबा यूज़ कर रहे हैं वो देख पाएंगे. तो इट इज़ डेडिकेटेड, इट इज़ अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल टूल. आई हैव यूज्ड इट माई सेल्फ एंड आई हैव फाउंड इट वेरी यूजफुल. सिमिलरली देर इज अ हमने इतनी सारी बातें की. Coming to the last outcome, it is world's first web portal to get ready to use professional email templates based on keywords. And the most unique feature is कि अगर आपको इसके अंदर से कोई email कस्टमाइज करवाना है, लिखवाना है, तो डेफिनेटली वो भी आप लिखवा सकते हैं. I would just like to take another 2-3 minutes to elaborate about keymailit.com. Writing good email is imperatively necessary. Now, here are some of the statistics which talk about the importance of good email writing skills. Believe me, our premier organizations like NASCOM, like NSDC have also time and on notified us and researched that India is way back as far as communication is concerned, communication in English is concerned, and business communication, written business communication is concerned. So keymailit.com serves that purpose basically, and it bridges the gap. It actually helps, offers online help to those professionals who are struggling with email writing for the want of time, for the want of certain words or grammar or English language ability, and so on. Communication can, like writing an email, we may face such a kind of a scenario which can be frustrating. So in case if you are writing, trying to write an email, you may not find proper words, or you may be burdened with another job responsibilities, and so it could be very frustrating. The second scenario also describes the same thing. You may be writing, but in that case you may not be very much oriented. Some point of time, again the same thing, you may not be finding right words, or someone's attitude is not right, and you are just frustrated, extremely anguished. क्या लिखना है इसको, मैंने इतना किया, इतना नहीं किया. टेक्सटिंग में भी ऐसा होता है. आप मोबाइल पे अगर ईमेल कर रहे हो या टेक्स्ट कर रहे हो बिजनेस के रिलेटेड, और सामने से कोई ऐसा रिप्लाई आ गया, आप बोलोगे कि अभी मैं क्या करूं. यू मे गेट स्टक. This one particularly describes all the distractions. आप काम कर रहे हैं, you are also required to interact with your team to give them directions or to take directions. आपके पास क्लाइंट्स भी हैं इंटरेक्ट करने के लिए, टेलीफोन कॉल्स हैं. तो ये सारी चीज़ों के बीच में आपको ईमेल करना है, विच शुड बी परफेक्ट, विच शुड बी प्रिसाइज एंड टाइमली. सो ये सब डिस्टोर्शन और ये सारी चीज़ों के बीच, फ्रस्ट्रेशन के बीच आप देखोगे तो आपको लगेगा कि आपका पूरा मेल बॉक्स जो है वो भरा पड़ा है. And थोड़ी ही देर में it will pile up, and you will find yourself piled under heaps of email. तो ये ना हो, इस वजह से basically the solution is keymailit.com. And one of the reason behind keymailit.com is more than half of the global population is using emails. There are 3.9 billion active email users worldwide, and these are researched facts. Average professional receives around 121 emails per day. Still the right way to formulate it is not known to many. The reasons are weak English communication and weak business communication skills. And as a result, we have Keymailit, which is world's first online web portal for guided email writing and for drafting business communications. It is based on a subscription model. It is based on real-time custom email drafting solutions. It is based on business communication repository, wherein आप वहाँ से रेडीमेड ईमेल, एक कीवर्ड डाला एग्जांपल आपने, तो आपको वहाँ से पूरा आपको ईमेल मिल जाएगा. अगर आपके पास वो कीवर्ड है और वहाँ पे अगर आपको वो ड्राफ्ट नहीं मिल रहा है, तो आप यू कैन रिसोर्ट टू ड्राफ्टिंग, कस्टमाइज्ड ड्राफ्टिंग एज वेल. तो ये हो जाएगा आपका. Basically, this is the detail of the founders. I happen to be the founder. My wife, Nipa Thakkar, she is an experienced banker. She happens to be a co-founder, and we have come up with this particular solution. These are the founder credentials, some of the accolades. This describes the scope. of, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, it is, I'm not going to repeat it, but yes, definitely with this I would like to thank ICAIWIRC chapter, and for encouraging me. I'm glad to offer free services of keymail.com for 1 full month, and you can avail the offer in consultation with WIRC. I'm sure WIRC would have shared the offer document with you, and in case of any help related to business email writing and business communication, any format, be it content or be it presentation or be it memo or be it letters, we are available, because we know the value of communication in business. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bisanji. Once again, thank you, Ahmedabad ICAIWIRC, for allowing me to interact. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Um Communication works for those who actually at it. I, Kashish Advani, on behalf of ICI branch of Ahmedabad and Vikasa Ahmedabad, would like to thank Ashish Thakkar sir for such an amazing and interesting session. From complex organizational communication to communication barriers, which we have usually studied in books, came to life today with solutions to communicational problems. Also, to add, the communication trends for 2021 and after, tools and parameters, indicators, and examples for the same were extremely thought provoking, and we all are actually looking forward to use Keymail it. Thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightening session. Thank you. With this, I would like to ask the permission to carry the session forward and welcome Kumarpal Jain sir, our next speaker for the session. Kumarpal Jain sir is a budding entrepreneur running the business of Kalpataru Marble and Stone. He is a writer who shall soon be publishing his work in near future, for whom speaking is more of passion and a natural gift. He is ex-vice president of Leo Club of Ahmedabad, vibrant, and has been hosting multiple events of Lions Club and Leos. He who has a passion towards uplifting of society through concrete fundamental groundwork and entrepreneurial interventions and seeks to have a career in the same field. We welcome you, sir, and please take the session forward. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, sorry. Can you please unpin Mr. Ashish Thakkar's screen? Yeah, it's still pinned, I think.
Yes, sir. Give me just a minute.
Okay, okay, sure, sure, sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, before we start, and we go enter into the whole informative thing of this effective communication. Two things. First of all, I would request all those who are attending to switch their videos on if they are comfortable. If not, okay, but those who all are comfortable are in a space they can, please. We would very like to thank you, Ishan sir. Uh, Everybody else. First of all, to start and to get all to you to on the track, I'll start with a very small activity. There would be a photo that would be appearing on your screen in a second. Just a second. Control. Yes. Mm. Everybody, can you see the photo? Yeah. Now tell me how many F you people can see in the whole sentence, in the whole photo that you're seeing. How many F's are visible to you? You can respond either by switching on your mic, or you can write that in the chat, whatever is comfortable with you. How many F's you people can see? Anyone else? Yeah, Kashish, 3. Anyone else? Hmm. I think our audience is quite lost today. Okay. From the one response that I have, if you see, actually there are 6 F's. There are 3 off that you missed. Right? Yeah. Now, why starting with this activity, particular activity? Let me switch this off. Yeah. 3 plus. Okay, in the title of image, Arijit see. He went to the title. Title में sentence के अंदर ही 3 और है. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. So, now, as you yourself saw that whenever we are looking at even something, even a photo that is right in front of us, we are not that much effectively looking at whatever is in front of us. The effectiveness of whether it's our communication or whether we are watching anything, it's not always up to the mark to which we actually could have done. It would have just taken us a few more seconds to analyze that it was not 3 but 6. And to be honest, I myself did the same mistake when I first saw that, so there's nothing wrong with that. Now, through this activity, I also wanted to give a message that now, since there was a start in which there was an activity, you people got engaged in it, and automatically now your attention is onto that thing. Now that is a tool that we also have to use. So as I'm using it, I'm also telling you to use it. That's as we take forward that effective speeches. How do we make that happen? Now the biggest problem that we generally see with any sort of speech or anything is anxiety. Whenever anyone is stepping up on a stage, though he might be a learned speaker, he has been giving speeches for years and years, always there would be some sort of anxiety, some sort of dysphoria in their mind. It's totally normal, but can we go ahead with that same effectiveness if we hold on to that anxiety? We wouldn't be able to deliver. So now we somehow have to delete that, and that's the first step that we are going to take forward to find a solution towards how to remove this anxiety such that we can deliver our maximum. Now, is it like that only few of us are having it? No, 85% of the people have generally accepted that whenever they're speaking publicly, they have some sort of this anxiety going on in their mind, and the rest 15% are denying they're somewhere lying. That's totally acceptable possibility. Now, imagine if you as a speaker are in a very uncomfortable state, are in an anxious mode, would your audience be comfortable? Is it possible that when the speaker himself is in a very, I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to do that, say, hello friends, let's do this. If the speaker himself is uncomfortable, there's a very minuscule possibility that the audience would be able to connect to them. Now, that's where our job as a speaker would start, that we first will have to make them comfortable. We first will have to make the listeners and the audience comfortable in that manner that, they can effectively listen to whatever we are saying. Their attention is here. They are attentively in this zone, and they've not zoned out somewhere else. Now, how will you make those people comfortable? First, to make them comfortable, you will have to be comfortable with yourself. So let's find out what are the reasons that we are uncomfortable, how our anxiety steps in, how it seeps in, and that's how we will be able to remove it. So first that anxiety starts whenever we are starting, when we are about to climb on the stage. There's this gurgling in the stomach, there's the legs start shaking, we feel like yaar kya hoga, koi mujhe kha jayega kya pata. We get all sorts of things that I'm just gonna make blunders, but and we just start to get into that process of thinking कि अरे ये होगा फिर ये होगा, मैं कहीं कुछ ऐसा बोल दिया जो मुझे नहीं बोलना था, शायद मैं सब कुछ भूल गया तो. So how can I remove it? First, accept it. Accept that, okay, yes, I'm getting a little anxious now. I need to come out of this zone. First and foremost, to come out, you first need to accept it. Once you will accept it, it's not that once you will accept it, automatically sari anxiety chali jayegi. I won't say that sort of things. That would be too much to expect from your own brain, because it's not in our control in general situations. So in anxious situations, if I'm expecting that my brain would, just listen to me and be like, oh, ab mera sara anxiety chala gaya, it's not going to happen. But when you will accept it, it will give you that space that now it wouldn't get on spiraling further and further and further. You would be able to at least put a break on where you have reached. हाँ, इतना anxious हूँ मैं, हो चुका हूँ, ठीक है, okay, आगे क्या, we will decide, but यहाँ पे रुक जाओ, इससे बदतर situation हमें नहीं करनी है, हमें यहाँ पर रुक जाना है. Now यहाँ पर आने के बाद में we realize कि okay, इतनी भी anxiety मुझे क्यों हो रही है, because my mind is churning and churning कि क्या होगा, कहीं मैंने कुछ गलत बोल दिया तो, कहीं जो मैंने लर्न किया है या जो मैंने मेमोराइज किया है उसमें से मैंने कुछ गलत बोल दिया तो, or even if I am having a manuscripted speech in front of me, what if I deliver the wrong expression at the wrong point. Those are the things that are going on in our mind. What if, but the core silver lining in all of this is we want to be that perfectly right person. If we just give up for 1 second, if we just for 1 second keep that thing aside, a large part of our problem will be solved. Just don't take it up as that you're about to perform a Bharatnatyam. See, if I'm performing some sort of a classical dance, some sort of classical music, I need to be perfect. मेरा राग अगर ऊपर नीचे हुआ तो I'm gone, my career is gone. But while public speaking, in case of speeches, it's not going to be that opposite person even gonna understand कि आप कौन से राग से कहाँ पहुँचे. Majority of them wouldn't even get that from where you shifted, what you had written. So they don't know it. So your possibility of going wrong is only in your mind. To rest, you just cannot go wrong. Because whatever you are going to say is the speech, nothing else. So how can we come back from that particular mindset that I want to be right anyway? How can we get back from that? First thing, ask question. Use maybe a rhetorical question, or to get some genuine information out of your audience. Do something in which there will be a participative activity. Now that participating activity will engage your mind to listen to the response. Also the audience will be engaged. Automatically you both will have each other's attention. A conversation would start. And when a conversation starts, you step out of that zone कि कहीं कुछ गलत हो जाएगा, कहीं कुछ सही हो जाएगा. See, when I'm conversing to one person, one-to-one conversations, any person who generally even is an introverted person or has an anxiety issues or anything, they generally are comfortable on one-on-one conversations. When it comes to a group, when it comes to a stage, we start getting like, nahi ye mujhse nahi ho payega. If we can convert this whole scenario of speech or this open public speaking scene as well into a one-on-one type conversation, where I am the one and the another one becomes the whole group, I'm conversing, automatically a large part of my stress would get boiled down. So that's the first thing, that ask some or the other question, like in the or else you can also choose that thing, I said, imagine if I am an uncomfortable speaker, how would my audience be? Imagine, ask your audience to engage. Next come the conversational language, right? That is being inclusive. Let audience decide the narrative. Bring the audience into the narrative. Do not distance yourself from the people. Like suppose if I'm saying I'm talking about climate change, in case of climate change, we all need to do this. If we do not, this will happen to all of us. It's not about me. It's not I'm saying that okay, this is to be done in regards to climate change. I am this Greta Thunberg, and you have to listen to me, and I'm the one specialist who's going to tell you what is to be done. So that's where you go forward, and you include your audience into your narrative. Don't go to them and tell that okay, for that climate change issue, we need to do step 1, we need to do step 2, we need to do this step 3, and voila, we will have a totally great biosphere around us. Instead, uh, instead what we can do is include them, that what a collective effort of all of us, that if today in this chat room there are 56 participants right now, if all of us plant even 5 trees, we would have more than 250 trees around us. That's the collective effort that we can make. That's a collective solution that we all can bring to each other. That's how we include our audience. Next, one of the major reasons for our anxiety is timing. Timing more in the sense of we are thinking आगे क्या होने वाला है, and we are forgetting अभी क्या हो रहा है. Be present oriented instead of being focused on the consequences or the result of those things. Like more and more time you are going to spend during the event or before the event of कि suppose if I pass a joke and लोगों को पसंद नहीं आया और सबके सब गुस्सा हो गए, तो और maybe what if my joke hits their culture and they take it in a wrong manner, what will happen? So I will get more anxious. The alternative to that is I can concentrate my mind on something right now, something that is happening here. I actually came in contact with a person who is a public speaker who charges 10 lakh rupees for an hour. But and when I asked him that what's your method of removing your anxiety before going on stage, he asked me, have you seen me coming on stage? When I come up on stage, I'm fully sweating and everything. I said, okay, so what do you do? I said, before I get on the stage, I do 100 push-ups, so that I get into that full pumped up mode, that I'm here doing my push-ups, nothing else is coming to my mind. But not all of us have that ability that we can go on doing 100 push-ups and then still have the ability to complete our whole session. So rather, there are some other easy solutions that we can choose up to, and those are like tongue twisters, or we can listen to some music that calms us up. Something like those athletes do, and that sort of thing. Some of the tongue twisters that it's like there are common ones, like चंदू के चाचा ने चंदू की चाची को चांदनी चौक में चांदनी रात में चांदनी की चमचे चटनी चटाई, और समथिंग लाइक कि समझ समझ के समझ को समझो, समझ समझ I myself missed. I forgot that one. So then there's another one that I slit a sheet I slit, and on that slitted sheet I sit. So those are some tongue twisters that we can use. And if you people are interested, we can try this activity out. All those who are listening, you can switch on your mic and you can try with me one of this tongue twister. Anyone up? Anybody? All lost. See, this is exactly what you don't have to do. You don't have to lose your audience. Hello? Is there anyone who's listening? Please say yes. Anyone who's listening?
Yes.
Oh, Arijit sir. Yeah. Would you be interested in, Mr. Arijit, would you be interested in trying a tongue twister? That's fine. Whether you're a student or it doesn't matter. You can join in. You just have to switch on your mic and try the tongue twister with me. Come on, let's try. Hmm. Yes, speak with me. I slit a sheet. Hello. Mm, I think so. There's some issue. Anyways, let's move on. Uh, Next comes up, don't panic and don't get stressed up. Even under, there's some hostile questions coming up towards you or anything of that sort. Don't get stressed up just by that question. Rather, take it positively. Take that question, think upon it, listen to the question in that moment, and then you would be in a situation to answer that question. It's Don't enter into the blame games. If someone comes up to you and says कि even accuses you कि आपने जो भी कहा सब कुछ rubbish है, uh, okay, no issue Arijit. Even if someone says that whole of the content that you put forward is rubbish, don't get angry, don't get into that thing कि भाई you're wrong, you said yes, you're blaming me or something. Don't get into all those things. Focus on your content. If the question is genuine, give them an answer appropriately based on your ability. If not, let them go. Don't get into the arguments and that sort of thing. Now, once your anxiety is under your control, see, it wouldn't be 100% in your control, but it would be to an extent that now you can work upon. And once you would start getting a little bit forward with your content, automatically rest of the things would fall in place in your control. Now, uh, let's there are some ground rules that you should be following. That if you go by those methods, generally you're bound to make not that huge mistakes as much as would create huge blunders. So first and foremost thing is, get out of your own way. The biggest reason why we make mistakes is we are seeking that perfection, and in seeking that perfection we fumble because we are getting more and more self-conscious. So more and more we get self-conscious, more and more I'm going to be concentrated on what I'm speaking. Resultantly, I lose the contact with the audience. Resultantly, I just cannot concentrate on any other example that would possibly come to me. I lose it, I fumble, and once I fumble, that again starts the spiral. That I will go down and down and down deep into that same zone. Now, uh, again, since there's not much participant, I don't think so there's any sense of bringing forward any activity. So let's skip the activity. I had something, but let's not get there. Also, yeah. So in such situations, when you are in that perfectionist zone or such sort of thing, get out of that muscle memory, get out of that situation of creating walls around you. Okay, see, this is how I do it, this is how I do it, I will finish and I will run away. No, stay in the situation for a second. Dare to be dull. It's okay if you will be wrong for a second, because once you will dare to be dull, maybe something really good can happen. But if you're just striving to be that great someone who's perfect and overachiever and something, that sort of thing, you're bound to fumble, you're bound to make that mistake. You will get into that reactive mode. You will not be responding, you will not be listening, you will just be in that reactive mode. ये किया, अब इसके बाद मुझे ये करना है, and I'm done. That's where you're going to screw it up more, because you're going to, when you get into that perfectionist mode, you're going to overanalyze everything around you. You're going to over evaluate, and when you do those overthinking while you're on the stage, you're bound to freeze up. Your mind will block. You wouldn't get any creative idea, okay, how to get out of this situation, how to answer this question that someone throws at me. So that the solution to that, dare to be dull. It sounds odd, but that's the solution. Next comes up, look at the speech as an opportunity, not as a challenge or a competition. Like suppose even you went to your boss's house. Say if you're an article, maybe someday your partners or anybody calls you to their house. There are other clients as well, or there are some other people as well. Now suddenly your boss says, "Oh, you are in direct contact with this client. Please introduce them." So in that moment, don't get aback. Oh, नहीं sir, मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा sir. Don't take that as a challenge. Okay, like someone has put you there to cut your work, or next day don't go to your office and be like, यार काल सर भराई दी तू मैंने पहला ने इंट्रोडक्शन आप यार आओ आओ थोड़ी मैं काही प्रिपरेशन थोड़ी करी थी. Don't take it as a challenge. Take it as a moment of opportunity. That okay, I know him, I can speak about him. Let's try. ज्यादा में ज्यादा क्या हो जाए, कुछ गलत बोल दूंगा तो खुद ही करेक्ट कर देंगे. Definitely we don't want to do that. As a student you might be able to do that, but once you are at a stage you wouldn't want to do that. But still take it as an opportunity to present yourself that yes, I have the ability to do that. Okay, yes, I know that person, this is the person, this is what he does, this is why he's an important person, he's an important client, this is, or whatever else his abilities are, and this is how we can take this is what we see to take forward our relation with him in this particular direction. That's how you can introduce someone. Or any other impromptu speech scenes. See, majority of the speech or anything that is going to come up in your life, those opportunities are going to be spontaneous, impromptu, and that sort of things. You will have very rarely you will have those time frames के हाँ चलो मैं 4 घंटा बैठ के प्रिपेयर कर लूँ, 5 घंटा बैठ के प्रिपेयर कर लूँ. Those scenes will be really less. So we have to be somewhere in a professional world. We need to be a professional or unprofessional world. We need to be ready for those impromptu scenes and take that as an opportunity. Now, also, why sometimes we fail to see things as an opportunity is, as I said, you take it as a challenge. More than challenge, sometimes we take it as an attack. So when we take it as an attack, we start to defend ourselves. Now, if I'm defending, my approach would be, okay, my senior asked me, introduce them, say, no sir, but he can do it better than me. No sir, I can't, but he can. We always, or in other scenes as well, we try to defend ourselves with a no, and then we give an excuse with a but. Instead, let's step out of our comfort zone and accept that yes, and approach that, okay, yes sir, I will take this approach, and if you don't mind, I would also like to introduce our another client. Push yourself up. Someone is giving you that opportunity, someone is giving you, okay, एक तरफ लगेगा आपको कि अंगुली दी तो तू तो हाथ ही पकड़ रहा है, but that's how you get forward in your career. That's how you introduce yourself. That's how you make a platform for yourself to create your influence. That okay, this guy takes initiative. This guy takes takes things forward. He wouldn't be holding back, or he wouldn't be into that defensive mode. He will take things forward. So let's get into that yes and approach. Take every opportunity that's in front of you. Take that up, climb up, and move forward. Next thing, slow down and listen. Slow down and watch. Slow down and absorb what's happening around you. You're in an auditorium, people in front of you are not attentive to you. Engage. You're in an auditorium, you're among a small group of people even. someone asks you a question, you're like, नहीं, ये क्वेश्चन का जवाब मैं कैसे दूंगा, or else you half listen to the question and you start responding. No, listen what that person wants to ask you. Maybe someone mistook you. So, whatever you said was taken in the wrong context and someone wants a clarification. Take that opportunity to clarify that, excuse me, that okay, that's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to say this. Or else, if someone has a question and you have an answer to that, listen to the full question, then respond. Respect their question. Don't take the question as a challenge or as an attack. Rather, take that question as an opportunity to explain things further. Take it as another extra 5 minutes to expand or elaborate upon something that you failed to elaborate because of lack of time earlier. Something, whatever it was. Now, since you will slow down for a second, you would be able to focus more. You would be able to reframe situation, or it's like अगर आपका घोड़ा दौड़ रहा था, वो out of control हो चुका है. Now you would be able to hold it back for a second, and because now you are more focused. Now you are into the moment. You're not somewhere lost. That's going to help you very much. Don't just on this I recall something, that don't just do something, just stand there. You don't have to be perpetually preoccupied. You don't always have to be thinking something in your mind. Sometimes you just need to be there, stand there, listen. Just don't do anything. Just listen, just observe and be there. Don't zone out. As much as you don't want your audience to zone out, it is equivalently your responsibility to not zone out and get lost in your la la land or something where you are giving another very great speech that yes, सब सुन रहे हैं, सबको मजा आ रहा है, but यहाँ पे सब कुछ खत्म हो चुका है. Next comes, what's your story? If you have ever noticed, अगर मैं आपको पूरा का पूरा informative lecture भी दे दूँ, see, I actually didn't want this lecture to be so flat. I wanted it to have some sort of activities and everything, but since the audience participation is not much visible, I don't want to force people into it. I had things planned, I had stories and everything, but I don't think so there's that much of things going on. That's why I'm quite deleting them. So I'm clarifying this because this would sound like आप खुद ही कह रहे हो कि you should have those activities and there's no activity in your own session, and that's why I'm just clarifying on that part. So yeah, what's your story? Always whenever you are having any sort of such session or speech or anything, the possibility of your whole information that you're trying to put out, it being understood, increases by 40% if you genuinely have a structure, if you have some story, if you have some connect with the people out there, if you have some sort of what we call basically you have some sort of structure or story. Now, how to bring in this structure? I'll give you a simple example. हमारा मोबाइल नंबर भी आजकल हमें वैसे याद रखने की जरूरत पड़ती नहीं है, but still अगर हमें याद रखने हो तो we divided into 3 groups, like 3, 3, 4, or else depending on the number, like we divided into the initial 4 of the company and then 3, 3, whatever. We divide it, we structure it, and it automatically sets in our mind. Same goes for any sort of content that you are trying to put forward. First of all, there are 2 simple structures that I would want to explain. Rest, there are many other, you can find them on the internet as per your convenience. The first 2 would be the problem, solution, and benefit approach. First of all, you state your problem, then you provide a solution for that, and then you provide that, okay, those are the benefits that are going to come forward just by solving this particular problem, right? But the benefit of this particular structure is that you wouldn't be giving your audience just random facts and figures and anything. You wouldn't be jolting them with things. You would be giving them, okay, see, हमारी ये प्रॉब्लम है, सोल्यूशन पे आते हैं. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so this is the problem, this is the solution, and this is the benefit of that. The also this will give you an organic attention. It's like कि आपकी जो audience है वो समझ पाएगी कि हाँ ये आया, इसके बाद ये चीज आएगी, and they would be interested. Okay, this is the solution, and those are the benefits from this. Second approach comes is what, so what, and how what, and now what. Sorry, what, so what, and now what. So like, say there's farmer protest going on. So what? We are having a huge amount of loss. We are losing a large part of our agrarian economies produce. We are losing it. Why? Because a large part of the farmers are sitting here. Also, we are losing a large part of our trading because वहाँ का जो market है वो block हो चुका है. So now what? Now what? We need a solution for that. What solution? Let's not get into that. That would get too long a discussion of its own individuality. Similarly, the same approach you can use that for your for a person's interview, as a person's introduction as well. जैसा हमने पहले बोला था कि who are they, yeah, sorry for the interruption. I'm visible, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, then comes the second structure, and that is, as I said, and then that can be used for individual introduction or individual things as well, that who they are, why they are important, what we're gonna do next with them. Next is why is structure so important? Again, that I missed upon. It gives a clear idea of what to do and how to do. For example, we have always listened to this particular example of that sell me this pen. Sell me this pen. If whenever you go listen about any marketing situations, like sell me this pen. But we have more often than that, not majority of us have not listened to the solution of it. That what exactly is the response to it? How do I sell that pen? That is because what is going on in our mind is मुझे बेचना है, मुझे बेचना है, मुझे बेचना है. We are so goal oriented in that moment that we are forgetting the context of that whole situation. In that, you first get to the person and you understand that do that person even uses a pen. What if that person is like from the IT background, पूरे दिन stylus से काम हो रहा है, pen use ही नहीं कर रहे हैं, तुम उन्हें पेन बेचोगे कैसे? So first you need get to know that what is their problem, what is their situation. Then now you come to know that okay, person likes a Parker pen, that person likes a roller ball pen only, roller pen only. Now you tell them, okay sir, Parker से भी better roller pen अगर मैं आपको दूं तो, then you bring out a solution to them. Okay, this is my pen, this has those qualities, we are, and it's also in some form it is a cheaper pen than Parker, but its quality is way better than Parker. Now you give them the benefits, and that's how you pitch it. You just can't go to them and say like, sir मेरा pen ले लो ना sir, ले लो ना sir, बहुत अच्छा pen है. You have to persuade them into buying it. Next is that a structure frees you and eases you the burden of all that, how it's all gonna be saved. मेरे दिमाग में 4 चीजें थी पेन के बारे में, but the moment I got that structure, I first asked that person, आपकी क्या requirement है? Does my pen suit into that requirement? Yes, I will express that. Those are the benefits. It got a structure to the communication. Otherwise, it's like मेरे दिमाग में बहुत सारी चीजें हैं पर मैं सारी communicate नहीं कर पाऊंगा, right? So to summarize all of this in a simple way, it's like get out of your way. First of all, get out of your way, grab the opportunities, whatever comes to your way, whether in form of a question, impromptu um, speech opportunity, whatever it is, grab that opportunity. Get out of way, grab those opportunity, and don't take them as challenges. Then slow down. Slow down and listen. Once you will be in that slow down mode, give it your time and attention. Lastly, use these structures and others that you can find online to solve those issues that you have regarding your speech. If even if you do inculcate those small things, a large part of your solution, a large part of your speech would get way more effective than you even thought. Now, this was the basic things that those were there. Now if you people have some questions or anything, I would like to take up that. How much time do we are we left with?
So we have around 10 minutes at hand.
Yeah, sure. Anyone, any questions or anything up in your mind? I would, if not, somewhat some questions. I don't think so I was that effective के सारे questions solve हो जाए, इतना अच्छे से मैंने सब कुछ समझा दिया. That's not possible. Any questions? No? Okay. Anyway, uh, since you have 10 more minutes, I would just give out you some other details that can be beneficial to you when you are giving any sort of speech or anything. First and foremost thing is, see, if I'm saying something, उसको पहली बार सुन के इंसान को हमेशा याद नहीं रह पाएगा. I will say something, then I will elaborate that. Once I've elaborated that, I will summarize that. Now, in these things, identify three most important things in your speech. Those three things you have to repeat at least 3 times in your speech. Now, why? 3 most important things 3 times in your speech. It's like basically a revision of the most important part of the whole thing with a keyword. And result of that shall be that the summary and the message that you want to convey to the opposite person will get fit in their mind. Resultantly, अगर उसका जो पोस्ट कंप्लीशन इम्पैक्ट है वो बढ़ने के चांसेस बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं. इट वुडंट बी लाइक कि हाँ ठीक है चलो किसी ने बोला था, हमने आधा सुना था और बाकी हम भूल गए. द रिटेंशन ऑफ दैट थिंग वुड बी बेटर. नेक्स्ट थिंग, परफॉर्म व्हाइल यू आर कम्युनिकेटिंग. डोंट जस्ट स्टैंड देयर, डोंट जस्ट बी लाइक हाँ ऐसा होता है, अगर आप ऐसा कर लेंगे तो आपका भला होगा दुनिया में. Don't go by that approach. Rather, engage, perform, do use a hand gestures or whatever you are comfortable with. Use your tonalities. Like if you are talking about something emotional, be emotional. You use your tone to change. If you are motivating, motivate them. Yes, yeah, you can do it. हौसलों को कर बुलंद, धूप में तू फिर निकल, कर भरोसा खुद पे, तू खुदा से तू आगे निकल. Give them that motivating tone. If it's something that is very informative, I know it's majoritarily not so easy to get those tonalities in case of informative speeches, but you can use jokes, you can use some props, some stories or whatever that can put out the information in a manner that it doesn't get so heavy and boring. Also, in any speech that you're going to give, you have 2 options. Either you can spit venom or you can mend some broken souls. Now, it's up to you what you want to do. There's a very common excuse that people give, ये मेरा तरीका ऐसा ही है. I understand कि आपका तरीका ऐसा होगा. You might be a rough and outspoken person. We are not saying change the content that you are delivering. Just use a little bit milder words. Some euphemisms कि like वो मर गया, इसकी जगह he passed away. Those simple euphemisms also will reduce the excuse me, will reduce the amount of hurt that you are putting forward in the opposite person. Also, One thing in general that I would say is draft your speech in a manner that you don't get clueless in the middle. You're speaking in the middle. If anyone just if any person pops up, you just lose the whole context. Don't do that sort of drafting. Draft with an intent that you have a step by step moving forward thing going on in your mind. If you're memorizing a speech, memorize it like you're not it's a pitch of your startup which is going to define your future forever. If you are an instinctive speaker, take your hints from the audience, take your short notes and rest. Be passionate about it and just go forward. I can go on, but I think so. We better keep it till here. Kashish,
Yes, sir.
thank you, ICI, and thanks to all of you for giving me this opportunity. And again, sorry, and Michami Dukram, if I have said something that has hurt you. Rest. Back to you, Kashish.
Um, I would like to say that a good speech is like a pencil and it has to have a point, and we all understood that today, which was very clear, sir. So on that note, I, Kashish Advani, on behalf of ICI branch of Ahmedabad and Bikasa Ahmedabad, would like to thank you, sir, for such an amazing session and for such an interesting session. From fighting anxiety while speaking to ways for grabbing attention and inclusive communication, differentiating between challenge, attack, and an opportunity, slowing down to engage was one of the key takeaways apart from structure of a speech according to the context. Thank you so much, sir, for such an amazing session. We all took away a lot of things today, and though it was not interactive, it was extremely informative, which made a huge amount of difference. And I would also like to thank all the participants and members for this 4 day interactive session. And we would like to end the meeting now. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.